Boy, Carrie, when you are stressed out,
Me?
whew, Lord have mercy, look out.
Like my hair is on fire. I mean, wouldn't it be so great if I could just kick my stress to the curb?
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is Chick to Chick.
Stress. When you're stressed out, you either don't eat well or you're panicked mess all the time. Your heart rate is up. You're exhausted. You have aches and pains. The list goes on. Stress is probably the number one thing that people don't realize that's really crippling their lives and their relationships. And I mean, let's be honest. You and I both see each other when we are so stressed out.
Crazy.
And you're nuts too. You're a wild Italian.
Nuts. I'm nuts.
The Italian comes out.
Yeah.
But the point is that I feel like we need to understand stress better because we just toss around the word, I'm stressed.
Right.
And we don't do anything about it.
Well, we say we're stressed, I have anxiety,
Yeah.
and it really affects you on so many levels. And
Right.
I don't think people realize that stress can actually make you
sick. Very sick.
Yes, and let's be honest here. These have been very stressful times the last couple of years that we're all dealing with COVID, and now right now with the economy, not knowing what's going on, inflation, gas prices are going up, people are losing their jobs. We're all like at this point where we want to pull our hair out. So as you said in the beginning of this podcast, wouldn't it be great if we could kick stress to the curb?
Yeah.
Which brings us to our guest today, Dr. Laurel Mellin. We are so glad to have you here. Doctor, give us a little bit of your background and help us today to kick stress to the curb.
I'm so happy to be here with both of you, and I love your program. Well, first of all, you have the best topic because stress is the number one pandemic worldwide, and I've been working on it for some time. I've been a professor at the University of California, San Francisco for more than 40 years developing emotional brain training. I'm a health psychologist, and I've also been fortunate to have some best-selling books. So I am really all focused around this stress pandemic we have and how to really use the brain differently so people can feel better faster. People are so stressed out and overwhelmed and numb and lost, and it's time to use neuroscience to help us feel better.
So let's talk about stress and what it does to us as a person. What does it do to you mentally, emotionally, and physically? Because stress can make you sick. What's going on inside the body that triggers all this stuff when we're stressed out?
We used to think about stress as being tension or psychological. We now know it's biological. When the world comes into your life through, the media with all these changes going on, it goes right into your emotional brain, not your thinking brain. So the emotional brain is the stress center. And when that stress response gets turned on just for a moment, it's actually good for you. Because if you say, oh, wow, I'm stressed, and you process your emotions, you get back to a great state of connection and you're even more resilient. But because stress is so overwhelming, most of us get into chronic stress, and that chronic stress does everything. It makes us hungry, it makes us fat, it makes us anxious, depressed, it causes premature aging. Literally, all these health problems that we're dealing with right now, whether it's diabetes or heart disease or cancer, are symptoms of stress overload where our population doesn't have the skills to turn off that stress response, to keep the stress buzzer from being stuck on.
No, the people really don't. And I think that, they figure they're trying to identify it, but people really need tools. And you actually wrote this amazing book. It's called The Stress Solution. And I know you when you were first reading it and then, handed it off to me. The thing you loved about this book is the fact that you were able to understand information from page 6, I think you said. So This is great, doctor, because if you're stressed out and you want to get an answer, you want to page through an entire book. So tell us about your book, The Stress Solution, first of all.
The major thing is to appreciate that the times have changed. Up until about 1990, and I'm speaking as from a medical perspective, we could think our way out of stress. We really could. And right now you can go anywhere and they'll say, use positive thinking, be mindfully aware. Actually, that has now been disproven in neuroscience, that we have crossed that boundary, and the thinking brain, which is the neocortex, the top of the brain, is no longer in charge because we're so stressed. It's the emotional brain that's in charge, and you have to be able to process emotions in innovative new ways that actually switch off the stress response. So the first thing is, do not try to think your way out of it. It works great when you're really not stressed. But once you cross that line so that the stress response is turned on, it could be that you're overeating or you're numb or you're on this false stress high or you're anxious or depressed, whatever the symptom is. Once you've crossed that line, thinking is worthless. In fact, it just starts you making lists and trying to analyze what's wrong with you or going to the internet and finding out what your problem is. So first, stop thinking that the age of the thinking brain is over.
You almost sound like when people say that, to me, it's like the teacher from Charlie Brown going, wah, 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 wah. Like, give me something useful, which your book, and you talk a lot about emotional brain training. What is emotional brain training?
Emotional brain training, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right now.
Okay.
First of all, it is that emotions, when you're stressed, go into a big blockade. And you have to take that blockade of anxiety, depression, or whatever, and fan out the feelings. And when you do that, the stress stops. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now.
Okay.
Are you ready?
She needs it because she is like,
I did come in here.
Her stress
morning,
is like,
but
so let's do this. Help her, please.
Okay. I'm going to tell you one idea, and then I'm going to go back around and tell you a little bit more that I think will really help you. The first thing is that when you take any of the emotions that psychologists will tell you are really bad to have, whether it's hostility or negativity, they're all the same thing in the emotional blockade. They're all stuffed anger, sadness, fear, and guilt. Those 4 feelings. Most of us have one of those feelings that are missing, like we're not willing to be just angry for a moment, or truly sad, not depressed, or really saying what we're afraid about, not panicking, or saying not what we feel ashamed about, but what we could do differently, our guilt. If we fan out those 4 feelings, which we do in all the EBT tools, phew, it's gone. So I'm going to ask you to do that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to stack on top of it. It's everything your mother told you shouldn't do, you actually should do when you learn brain science. And that is, the first thing you want to do is complain. If you want to, I'll take you through it right now. Would you like to feel better now?
Yes, she needs it. Yes.
Okay, good.
I'm not
good,
a
good.
head case. I'm not a basket case.
Are you sure? Okay, stop anytime you want. And it's on an app.
I'm happy to learn from you, Doctor.
Okay. So the first thing I want you to do in 2 or 3 sentences, complain, right? My mother told me, Laurel, never complain, don't be negative. Well, it turns out that when you're negative and complain about something for just 2 or 3 sentences, it activates just the circuits in the brain that cause stress. And then you can clear them.
And
so
I
the first
did
thing
that
is,
this morning. I did complain to Flora. So check that box.
okay, good. And then you have to
validate that she did.
I did.
She did.
And then what you have to do is say, what am I really stressed about? Because if you get to the part of that thing that's bothering you that really bothers you and you clear that, wow, you're just completely done with the stress and you're back to feeling joy. So you'd say, you want me to demonstrate it?
Sure. Yes.
Or do you want to do it? Okay. So I'm going to first say the situation is my husband is very grumpy this morning because whenever I go on a program, he gets nervous. He just does. He can't help it. Whenever I go on a program, okay, I got to be stressed about it. Okay, so my husband is really grumpy. He's sort of sitting there watching the whatever, and he's doing his work and whatever. What I'm most stressed about, he's so grumpy. Okay, that's a complaint, right? Okay, now I can start analyzing what I've done wrong, what I should do differently, a total waste of my time as a human being. And instead, I'm going to fan out my feelings. Okay, I'm going to do 3 angers. What the anger does is it gets my brain thinking really sharp. Then my feelings will flow, that emotional blockade. I've got a little bit of a stomach ache right now just talking about how grumpy he is. My stomach ache's going to go away because this is physiological. And then I'm going to move up to my positive emotions. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So again, what I'm most stressed about is he's so grumpy. And then I'm going to do anger, which if women don't have their anger, they will, and men too, they will go into depression or anxiety. And then it gets even more stuck. And then you have to medicate the depression or the anxiety or try to figure out what to do. So again, it just wastes time. This is very quick. EBT takes 1 to 2 minutes to switch off the stress response. So I'm going to say, I feel angry that he's so grumpy. I can't stand it that he's grumpy. I hate it that he's so like this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Now that's it. That puts my thinking brain back online because it got taken offline by stress. And now my feelings are going to be beautiful, very quick. I feel sad that, he's upset. I feel afraid that he's going to stay upset. And I feel guilty that sometimes I'm not that nice to him. I should have been nicer to him this morning. Okay, now the stress response has calmed down, and now I'm going to express positive emotions. But I feel grateful to be here with you talking. I feel happy that I love him with all my heart. I feel secure that he will get over it sooner or later. And I feel proud that I'm not so merged with him that I'm going to be upset about it. Yeah, that's right. I feel proud of myself for being a grown-up and not getting so upset that I can't even get on the Zoom. Okay. So you can see that the emotions just flow.
So you took a negative and you turned it into a positive, all just rethinking the situation.
And also I think what you did is you identified the things. I'm thinking that if I'm upset and I don't know how to identify what it is, it just stays kind of clogged in there. So you are identifying all those different feelings.
Exactly. And even more, I'm emotionally processing them. Mm-hmm. Our hunter-gatherer brain doesn't want to just know how we feel. It wants us to feel them. And notice what I did is I felt each feeling. And that's what you learn. You need to feel the feelings, move through the feelings, and you spiral up to joy. And at that point, that's EBT. And then you move forward with higher purpose. One of the things that's happening right now is we're so stressed out that we can't get to higher purpose.
Right.
Because if we don't have a clear pathway forward, and I'll show you, I'll do that in just a moment. The last part is called the take action tool. So first you clear your emotions by processing them. And then you move forward with higher purpose. It's higher purpose in the brain, the septal region of the brain. When the brain's connected, actually finds its way down when you think about a higher purpose like integrity or authenticity or freedom or vibrancy to the reward centers in the emotional brain, and it activates neurochemicals like dopamine and endorphins. You feel so good on the spot. So that's the second part. You want me to do the second part?
Very quickly, sure.
Okay. So I'm going to say, so what do I do? What do I expect of myself? Now I feel connected. I expect myself to do the best I can to appreciate that he doesn't have to be perfect, nor do I. A positive and powerful, I can do that. The hard part is I have to be generous in my spirit, but the earned reward is authenticity, spirituality, and intimacy. Okay. So I am literally aglow with positive chemicals. The stress is not even on my mind. I'm moving forward with integrity and toward intimacy. And so that's how you switch off the stress response in 2 minutes with EBT.
And you've retrained your brain. Doctor, if somebody wants to get a hold of this book or wants more information about emotional brain training, where can they get that information?
Well, we want them to go to ebt.org. Because when you go there, you can get the whole program with the app and lots of support. And there's support groups and training groups and health professional groups, ebt.org. And we also have a special 20% discount on everything for anyone who puts Chick to Chick into our coupon. So we really want you to get involved.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. This was really, really good information. And we love chirping with you today. And, it's what we say all the time. You got to get rid of the yuck to bring that yum into your life and just retrain your brain and retrain the way you look at certain situations. But this book is great because you learn that on page 6.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to the end of it.
Right. But I'm sure there's still tons of other great
things in it. Tons of stuff, but that very first exercise was on page 6.
All good things. We appreciate you being with us today. We hope you'll go over and check out our YouTube page, like and subscribe, and we'll be back when we're chirping about another topic.